Hello YouTube, Kane here, and we are going to be doing a 2022 in review tier list. So last year, I played a few games, some PS1 games, a ton of PS2 games, and there's a few games that aren't in this stack that are not physical, such as like Kingdom Hearts. I played the final remix, whatever, on PC. But you know, it was thematically appropriate to be chucked into the mix. We got my Twitch chat here with me, and we're gonna be going through and just trying to rank the games relative to each other, and just kind of see how I felt like the games were. Twitch chat's probably gonna be disagreeing heavily with me on some of my rankings. Don't be surprised there. And if you got anything you want to throw in the comments, feel free to contribute. I'm trying to set these games back down in a way that I can access them. Frick. Alright, that'll work. Alright, whatever. Alright, so let's jump into it. The first thing we need to establish is, what do the tiers mean? And so, for me, an S game would be like any game that I like absolutely recommend you play, right? Like an A game would be a game that I like, but it's like, if someone's like, oh, do I need to play this game? I'd be like, I like it. If you like, let's say there's a platformer, and like, it's a good platformer. Do you like platformers? You'll have fun with this. But it wouldn't be like, you need to play this, right? So one game that's not on this, that I would say is an S tier game, is Mr. Mosquito 2. It's freaking great. It's one of the best PS2 games. It's Mr. Mosquito 1, except for like the controls aren't terrible. The everything about the game is like an actual functional game. Is really fun. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, F is going to be absolutely terrible. I don't think I have any F tier games that I played last year, but an F tier game, Dinosaur for the PS1. Actually, possibly the worst game one of the worst games I've ever played. Like Bubsy 3D, probably a D tier. Actually, so but here's that marker. Bubsy 3D is the bottom of D. Anything worse than Bubsy 3D is F tier, and then it's Bubsy 3D is in the 3D tier. So D is above Bubsy 3D. Spyro ETD? No, like it's functional. Like, I don't even think it's like a horrible game. I just think it's a bad game. But yeah, so that's kind of like the tier list breakdown. B is probably going to be like my average tier if I have to speculate. But yeah, let's get started on some of the games. I've got like the list down here at the bottom. We're doing this in GIMP, not like tier list maker, so we can drag these around. Is it functional? Yeah. We don't have to argue about that one though. I didn't play ETD last year. Wait, no. I own ETD on GameCube, which means I don't. There we go. I think it's on GameCube. Either way, so that one might not be in the list. All right, so the first game on the left here is Sly 2. Sly 2 is a game I've played before. And this is the second time playing it, but it's been many years. And I actually think Sly 2 is a good game. It's definitely not like an amazing game, but it is like a fun platformer. And it's very slow. It's kind of time consuming in the amount of missions in each zone. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Like, Sly 2 is like a solid B game for me. That's my take. Like, it's good. It's not like the peak of PS2 platforming, but like, it's fun. All right. Let me make a stack here to arrange things. All right. Next up, big that we can delete out. Let's go with Ico. Eco. I don't know how to pronounce the game. I'm not gonna hold that against it. But it's Eco is one of many games that has this issue that I've noticed that many PS2 games have, where they don't have music. It's just atmosphere, right? Like half of Eco sounds like you're running around in Digimon World, but they took out the music. PS1 games had the same atmospheric vibe of this, except for they had music to make it fun. That's the point. But like, it makes it hard to stay awake while playing the game. It's a problem. Like, the puzzles are good, the overall structure of the game is good, but it's just like, I need to stay awake. Like, it's a major detractor. I don't know. Like, I still put it in Euro problem. I still feel like it's a B tier game, but it's not like the best gaming experience, right? Like, it's not bad, but like, well, I'll mention this in Shadow of the Colossus, but like, you could literally just put on music, like put on like the Wind Waker sailing music, make it more immersive. Not when you're like, a good example. All right, we're gonna go straight to Shadow of the Colossus as well, because it does improve upon the formula. All right, where's my copy of Shadow? Oh, it's still back there. All right, Shadow of the Colossus versus Eco, whatever. Shadow of the Colossus has boss music. All right, so like Shadow of the Colossus plays like a really good game. I like the mechanics. I like the boss integration. I haven't beat it yet, but I think it's a really good game. And it has music for the boss fights that really adds to the experience. Like, it makes it enjoyable. It's not just silence. There is still a ton of just dead silence traveling. Like, they could just add in like a generic plains, simple tune just to give it a vibe, right? And it would improve the game. I still feel like Shadow of the Colossus is like an A tier game. It's better than Eco because like it does have music. But if they had like just playing music when you're riding around on the horse for 30 minutes trying to figure out how to get to the next boss makes the game, like, you can just put on your own music and the game experience goes through the roof. Right? It's a very common thing on these PS2 games that I found, and it's not good. I don't know who made that editorial direction, but like, you need some noise other than just walking around in the grass to make it a fun and enjoyable experience, I feel like. All right, next up, let's hit up Jak and Daxter. So Jak 1, I think the last time I played Jak 1 was 10 years ago. So it's been a while. And so I did all was it orbs, power cells, whatever they're called. I did all those, so I guess that's like 100% completion. And I think Jak 1's really good. I still struggle to say that it is, like, I still feel like it's A tier. Like, Jak's a really good game, but like, is it S tier? Like, it's definitely not Mr. Mosquito tier. A, if you like collectathons, yeah, like if it's a collectathon, it's a really good platformer. I like the mechanics, but it's not like peak video games. It's just really good. All right, next, it had been finished with a 4th hub. You're getting into the incomplete aspects of games that I'm kind of out of the loop on. Sly 2 is better than Jak 1, so I figure that Sly 2 is better than Jak 1? All right, we can do Sly 1. Let's hop over to Sly 1. Where's Sly 1? All right, Sly Nithivius Raccoonus. I'm gonna put this in A tier. It's Sly changes kind of the overall structure of the game from like Sly 1 to Sly 2. And I think I like Sly 1 better because like I don't know, the structure, like the level aspect, the having like the time trials and everything. Maybe it's just more familiar to me, but like I like it. I need to find the cover. These things are all layered. Frick, where are you? Sly 1, where are you hiding? Show yourself. Wait, do I not have a Sly 1 cover? Oh wait, there it is. Found it. It was underneath? There you are. I just like Sly 1 better than Sly 2. I still think Sly 2 is better than I remember, but I don't think it's better than Sly 1. Should be labeled in layers. That's how I found it. I had to scroll through the layers. Sly 1's a respectable platformer that belongs firmly in whatever tier is below Sly 2. Like Sly 2, it has more stuff, but it's not necessarily stuff that I enjoyed. That's the difference there. Like Jak 1 and Sly 1 are a little bit more trimmed, but I had fun with all of the content. While Sly 2 just had a lot more stuff. And stuff can be good. Stuff can also be less interesting. Seems like it's missing a hub 4. Jak 1. It's possible. If you didn't enjoy the writing, that's where Sly 2 really shores up the series. That's the thing about like Jak, Sly, several of these games where like the writing is a little bit more involved in the later games, so it definitely changes the trajectory. All right, let's actually do Saucer Man next. All right, so this is a PS1 game that is also on the PC. This is PAL exclusive. I had bought a PAL PS2 at the beginning of the year, and well, actually, I bought it last year in a trade, and it took until the beginning of the year to show up, I think. Or maybe it showed up in December. Either way. So this was one of the games that I had bought with that exchange. And it starts off as like a weird alien invasion experience where you're going around and you can shoot stuff and whatnot. And it starts off not bad. But you've got a limited amount of health and a limited amount of lives. And when you die and like fully game over, you have to restart the level. And at the beginning of the game, that's not a big deal. The levels are pretty short. You're talking about a couple minutes. Figure out the mechanics. The mechanics are very awkward from what I remember. It's been a while since I played it. But I remember where I quit this game. I died an hour into a level, like hard game overed. And it was a horrible level where you had like tons of puzzles and enemies that were spawning that want to kill you, and really it's just not a good game. I'm trying to decide C or D tier because it starts off not bad. I feel like I should lower it down to D just because it has the deception tier where like it starts off at like a B game that's like unique and kind of fun, and then it just like I wasn't even like close to the end of the game. I looked it up and I was on like I don't know, I was half to maybe 2/3 of the way into the game, and everything just gets longer and harder and more arduous from there. So I didn't finish it. I started liking it, and then it just goes horribly unpleasant to play. So that yeah, I think D's not unfair. It was not good. I didn't think I would have a D, but then I looked over and saw that and forgot I played it. All right, next up, let's grab God of War 2. So I bought God of War 2 because it said God of War on it, and I didn't realize it was God of War 2. So I played God of War 2 and then played God of War 1. Now, at the time when I popped it in, I was like, "Oh, this is God of War 2." I don't think I'm really gonna get any story spoilers from God of War, right? God of War 1, I assumed like you become the God of War, and that turned out to be the plot. So it didn't actually really matter much that I played it in the wrong order. Now, how would I rank it though? I don't know, like God of War is like a big classical franchise. I didn't hate it, but like, they're okay games. And the issue here is that like I want to put God of War 2 in like B tier, but I want to put God of War 1 below it because like why don't we talk about both of them? God of War 2 felt like a fully fleshed out game. It's not bad. It really might just be I put God of War 2 in A tier and God of War 1 in B tier. That might make the most sense. Because like God of War 1, the issue I have with it is that like instead of like a normal game where you have like segmented chunks of progression and you have like you go to a temple and you go to the next temple or something like that. Or like God of War 1 or 2, it spreads it out and you got to go to different places and you meet new people. God of War 1 spends 2/3 of the game all in the same temple. And it was just kind of weird pacing. And like, I don't think mechanically it's too much different, but I think 2 is just a better game. So I think I'll do that. Because, like, it's not a... Like, 1's not a bad game, but it's just notably... Oh, but hold on. I need to take that back. There's one beef I have with God of War 2. I think we can put them both in B. And the reason for that is because the end of God of War 2 is just... It just stops. Like, it's like... Continued in the next game. That's it. Like, you're just playing along and like the plot's progressing and it's just like, all right, play the next game. It's like, wait, that's the end of the game? O tier for you, the only game that works on your PS2's dying laser. Oh, unfortunate where to follow. So yeah, I retract that. Like, I almost put God of War 2 in A tier, but the issue is that, and they didn't even have to add content for God of War 2 to be A tier for me. They just needed to frame the ending correctly. Because instead of being like, we're going to Olympus and we're gonna defeat Zeus, they could have just structured it cinematically and written the ending to be an ending. But instead it's just like, the game just ends. It's like, yep, play the next one. Probably doesn't work now. Yeah, PS2s don't. When the lasers start dying, they don't come back from that one. Being in the middle falls for the peril of being in the middle. Well, that's the thing though, is like it could have been, they could have just written it to where like it sets up for their game instead of being like, oh, we're gonna go do this part now, and then like, no, actually, here's the credits. Well, like, they could have just framed... the same cutscenes had all of that in there, just written it a little bit differently, and then, like, framed it different so that, like, you know the end of the game is coming. Instead of being like, oh, alright, we've got one more thing before the end of the game. Alright, let's do this. Oh. It just isn't doing it for me. Alright, next let's grab Destroy All Humans. So this is another game that hugely has issues with the eco issue where there's just silence and like you're running around and there's not like music playing and it's like I need to stay awake while playing the game. Overall, the concept of Destroy All Humans is fun. The comedy I think is really good, but Destroy All Humans really suffers from the atmospheric silence issue. Um, so I'm gonna put it in that B tier as well, where like it's not bad, but like it's hard to stay awake sometimes. If you didn't sleep well the night before, Destroy All Humans is not the right game to play. Alright, next up, let's grab Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. I've played The Wrath of Cortex in speedrun settings before, and it's always been extremely unpleasant to play, because, like, it's clunkier and it's not as good as the originals. You didn't beat Shadow of the Colossus through. I haven't beat Shadow of the Colossus, but I've beaten about half of it, I think, and I think A's gonna be a solid, like, unless something goes horribly wrong, I think A's a solid placement for it. But yeah, Wrath of Cortex, casual, no timer playing. I did 100% it, and it really wasn't too bad. Like, you only have to get like Sapphire Relics, I think, to get 100%. So it's real chill. Again, I don't think it's like a great platformer compared to other games in the franchise, but when you're just casually playing the game, it was so much better than trying to speedrun the game. It's a solid 6. Yeah, like that. I think 6 is kind of that B placement for me, right? So it's definitely not like a bad game. It's just not a great game. But it's not bad. Like the ball levels were a lot more fun than I remembered. Just because you want it in C. Like, if I put it in C, then at least Destroy All Humans has to go in C. Like, if we wanted to, like, properly use C tier, I feel like God of War... I think we could make an argument like this. Do we need to redistribute stuff? Start using C? C is a low B. T-Walk's the definition of a C game? Okay. I'm not gonna disagree with you there. Like, it really wasn't bad, but it's not like a great game. Like, I feel like C's too harsh, but you know, it's a low B. Yeah, but it's like B2, right? Like it's C. C is more than, these games are more than. C is more than a D by more than a one-step interval in this circumstance. Because like Attack of the Saucer Man is actually bad. It is bad. It's better than Bubsy 3D, but it's bad. Right? I put F as things that are worse than Bubsy 3D. D is the things that are not worse than Bubsy 3D. That's where Attack of the Saucer Man. B's too good for T-Walk. Depends on if we're grading on a curve relative to this collection or absolute. So that's why I specified like the grading at the start, where S is like absolute, like Mr. Mosquito to my top picks for the console kind of thing, and then F is anything worse than Bubsy 3D. And in that circumstance, like B to C is kind of like that middle, where C's like on the bad end and B's on the not so bad end. Just kind of the average. Like, this is your middle 66%, I guess. We're doing it. It falls in the B to C. All right, we had to readjust some stuff, but I don't disagree with this. Ratchet and Clanks are going. We can do Ratchet and Clank right now. Do I already did Jack 1. All right, let's grab Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank 1. The last time I played this was legitimately 10 years ago. Christmas 2012. And this is January 1st now. So, it's been 10 years. I really did not enjoy the game my first time playing it. My second time playing it, it's clunky. It's definitely not anywhere near as good as the later Ratchet and Clank games. Insta B for you? It's not going above B. I'm just trying to decide. Is it better than the Wrath of Cortex? I really am not confident that it's better than the Wrath of Cortex. And you all just made me put Wrath of Cortex in C. High B? Ah. Easily better than the Wrath of Cortex? Like, the Wrath of Cortex wasn't that bad. Fight? Like, I don't know, like, it's that B to C. It's a C for sure. How's it going, Madden? Like, I would put it like right here, right? Like it is above C, but like Sly 2 is better than Ratchet 1. That I can say with confidence. Sly 2 is better than Ratchet 1. Like, I don't want to put it up here because that, like, lowers the value of Sly 2. But not in the same tier as T-Walk. Alright. We'll go with B. But, you know, it is not better than Sly 2. That is my asterisk qualification. Alright, next, let's do Devil May Cry. Alright, so I'm really bad at Devil May Cry. Lowballing Sly 2? Yeah, but like Sly 2 is not A tier. It's just a high B. Alright, Devil May Cry. So I'm bad at Devil May Cry. So it's kind of hard for me to properly like evaluate just how good the combat system is for Devil May Cry. The game recommended me play on easy after I was failing miserably, and I accepted. And I think overall, like, I definitely see the appeal. I didn't necessarily fully experience it myself. There was one fight with a bird that, or something, like an owl or something, that like you had to like climb up some stuff, and he just kept flying up, and I had some major issues with that one boss. And then the end didn't make sense, where like you're in a castle and a cliff, and then like it starts collapsing, and so then the plane that never made sense that it was there in the middle of a castle to begin with, you just hop in the plane and the floor falls out and now you're flying? As much as you like DMC, DMC 1 is C tier? No way. No way. DMC 1 is not C tier. Like, I'm not good enough to know how high it should go, but it's at least a B. Like, I could see this being an enjoyable game is the issue. Where, like, for me personally, I'll put it in B. But I'll respect anyone that says it should be higher, because like I can see how people would enjoy it. Like it does, you know, there was good mechanics and everything there. The fundamentals were there. It's just not my style of game. But like I didn't hate it. I thought it was, you know, fun. In my low skilled experience. All right, next, let's do. Here's one that most people don't know. Grimoire. It is actually getting remade or something, remastered or something, released. I don't know if it's out yet. So like you could play like the HD whatever of Grimoire. I played the original. It's not that good. It's a RTS on the PS2 where you can what saves it as being a playable game is when you go to move your mouse around, the state of the game pauses. So even though it's real-time strategy, you're able to pause in order to navigate to where you want to select stuff and then do your inputs. And so it becomes a functional game, but it also causes the gameplay, the pace of the game to slow down horrendously. Whereas if this was on a PC, it'd be really easy to do everything quickly, but at the same time, like, it would be too simple for a PC RTS. So I don't think it's a very good game, but you play it because you like the voice actors. It's got nice art. It's got nice art. It's got high quality voice acting. The story's pleasant, but the game mechanics are just not that good. I don't know. I feel like it's C tier. I feel like it's C tier. It's worse than Sly 2. It's worse. Ratchet 1 is definitely better than Grimoire. Yeah, it's C tier. It's not that good. The order here is not established. This is the order that I've put them up there. So like it's not necessarily worse than T-Wog, but I'm not saying it's better than T-Wog. Like, T-Wog's shorter. All right, next up, let's do. All right, Azure Dreams. This is another PAL PS1 game that I played at the beginning of the year. The person I did the exchange with actually slipped this in, just because they wanted me to play it, which was very nice of them. And I thought this was a really good game. So what it is a roguelike, but it's also an RPG where you have a tower that when you enter, you start fresh every time, but you bring in, kind of like Pokemon, you've got these assistant monsters that battle with you, and you can level them up. And when you leave the we can talk about that in a sec. So when you leave the tower, your level resets to 1, but your monsters maintain their experience and their levels. And so there's a really technical strategic aspect to climbing the tower in optimizing, what units you bring and how you use them, and when you use them, and leveling yourself up, and the equipment drops. And it's a really, really well made game, honestly. There's also tons of like random stuff in the town outside of the tower that you can interact with. You can do a dating sim approach to the game if you want. You can city builder. There's racing, all sorts of random other things. So, including collecting art of various styles. But overall, like, it's a really good game. I haven't played Second Tower. There's apparently this huge mod. The game originally was supposed to have 2 towers. One's like your basic tower, and then the hard one for once you beat it. But they didn't. In this version, the second tower wasn't in there. But modern community has added that in, and people, including Gary here, has spent a lot of time just doing the towers over and over, and it gets crazy hard and whatnot. But I think it's a really good game. My only question is A tier or S tier, where like I think it's best put in A tier, where like you have to be into roguelikes. RPG roguelike. It's kind of a unique mix. I think it's really well executed. But like, do I recommend this to everyone? Not necessarily. Like, I could definitely see someone being like, yeah, that's not my style of game. In which case, it's A tier, where it's extremely good. But if you don't choose to play it, it's not the you're not missing out on like the library. It's not like one of the primary highlights of like the PS1 library, right? It's just really good. So next, we're narrowing it down. We got a mix of games left. Let's do Jak 2 next. So Jack 2 is kind of the low point in the Jack trilogy, where like you either like Jack 1 or Jack 3 the most. I haven't played Jack 3 again. Jack 2, there's some bad missions, there's some clunky mechanics. Like Jack 1 was very much streamlined for this like collectathon thing, and like 2 they decided to change directions and start going for the, you know, either your combat, edgy story writing, and I think there's a lot of like, you know, good things about that, but I do think it's Jack 2 is worse than Jack 1. You have a hard time saying you like Jack 2 the least? Some people, there's some people in my chat when I was playing Jack 2 that were like, I like Jack 2 because it's the hardest, or they liked the jank mechanics of Jack 2, and I was like, well, you know, if the worst aspects of the are the things that you like, then fair enough. Yeah, 1, 3, 2 is historically, like 1 and 3 you can argue about, but 2 very few people stand for. So I'm that, yeah, I think it's B tier. It's not bad, but like it's got some rough points, and I'm trying to remember to what completion I did of it. I think I did like all missions or something. So I did some of those like rough missions that you don't necessarily have to do. But overall, like, it's still fun, but it's got some sour moments. Growing up is realizing Jack 1 is the best of the 3. We'll see when I play 3 again. I do recall liking 3, but it's been a while. I need to get there. Get that feeling with FF8 that Jank was the best. Fair enough. All right. Next up, Siren. So I was warned about the challenges of Siren, and so I opened up a guide and was using that to play through with it. And you know, from a puzzle solving horror spooky aspect, needing a guide in order to understand the complexity of this game isn't something I hold against it. The issue was that apparently I did something wrong along the way. Oh, here was the issue. So there's checkpoints in the stages where you can do part of a stage, hit a checkpoint, and then finish the stage. But if you finish the stage having died and respawned at a checkpoint, there are scenarios where completion components, like you went and turned a knob, or you interacted with an object, or you found something that happened before the checkpoint, no longer are saved. And so you have to do, right, it's the Crash 1 problem, where you have to do your playthrough without dying in order to make the progress that you think you're making. And that's a huge freaking problem. And it's on the PS2. It's not a PS1 1995 game. It's when did this come out? 2004. 9 years later, they still couldn't figure out how to program a stupid checkpoint. And so at a certain point, I could no longer follow the guides because my progress was less complete than I expected, and none of the guides that we were looking at could help me figure out how to make progress. So it's a very complicated game that is gonna be niche and enjoyed by a few people, but man, it is not a game that you want to play casually. Like, you have to go into it committed, and like I feel like it's C tier. Like, it's rough. It's real rough. If the checkpoints worked, it'd probably be an easy B tier. Potentially, like, with an argument that the people that like oh, Saucerman's terrible. Like, I'm not denying that. I think Jack 3 has way more jank than 2 with the Dune buggy stuff. We'll find out when I get there. I haven't played it again, so I can't rank 3 relative to the others yet. I'm just playing on memory. But yeah, Saucer. So I said this at the beginning. F is worse than Bubsy 3D. D is anything that is not worse than 3D, but is bad. But yeah, no, Saucer Man is terrible. It starts off okay and then just goes. Do not play that game. All right, so we're getting down to a few games left. Yeah, let's do Ratchet and Clank 2, Going Commando. Yeah, no, this is a good game. Ratchet and Clank 1 is kind of clunky. It's very difficult. They redid a lot of the mechanics with like the health system, the weapons, and like the Coliseum. It's good. I feel like, heck, I know Ratchet and Clank 3 is better than 2, but I still feel like 2 is a potential S, right? Like, it's definitely like one of the games of the console. Getting it confused with Destroy All Humans? Yeah, Destroy All Humans was like, the ambiance is what killed it. Going Commando S? Yeah, like, that's the thing is like, I know Ouya is better than Going Commando, but like Going Commando is a great game. So yeah, we'll put that in S. I don't have any. That's my only reservation is that like, well, I know there's something better than it, but like Going Commando already like just nailed the formula. Not too much to say there. It's just a good game. Definitely like one of my top picks. All right, next. Let's go with Vex. So Vex is a game that I've actually had for like probably close to a decade, I guess. I bought it and I was like, I should play this at some point, and then I never played it because I never had a reason to play it. It's kind of like an offbeat platformer. So what Vex is, when you sit down to play it, is it's a collectathon, very much in like that Mario 64 structure, where you have a central place that just has like 10 worlds or whatever that you have to go out to, and you have to collect things, like some kind of orb or something. And the probably the thing that kills it the most is when you enter that place for the first time, you can see the doors to every level, and it's like 1, 10, 15, 20, whatever, right? Like it tells you the unlock requirements, and so then you look over and you're like, how much does this take to beat the game? And it goes 70, and you're like, okay, that's a lot. So then you go into the first level, and like 10 minutes later you have your first one, and you're like, oh no, I'm in danger. Overall, like the platforming it's kind of like got that PS2 dark edginess, but Mario 64 structure, which is weird. The lore is not introduced well. There's like a cutscene at the beginning, and then like you just show up in levels and you're playing, and it's gonna get that C tier treatment too, where like it's not a terrible game. The platforming works. If someone enjoys it, I can respect that. But like people that enjoy Vex could eat like it's equal with the Wrath of Cortex. I think that's a fair statement. Wrath of Cortex, Vex, they're on the same field. I didn't finish it because it was just a huge time sink, and I hit that point where I was like mentally fully understood what was going to be required to beat it, and I was just not interested. But it wasn't incomplete because it's bad. It's just not worth the time. Corvex, something like that. All right. Next up, let's do the Maestro Music 2. So for this one, this is the sequel to the Maestro Music for the PS1. Where, if you don't know what this is a rhythm game with a motion control where you tap to the beat, and then it also measures the intensity to gauge what it calls volume. So you can hit hard for a loud note or soft for a soft note. Now, Maestro Music 2, you would expect to be better, an improvement on one. They did change some of the way that the music reads out, but they went away from like a music bar to like these weird ellipses that have different sizes, and I couldn't figure it out. It was weird. Honestly, Maestro Music 1 is just a better game. Also, the music selection, it's all Tchaikovsky, which isn't bad, but this has expansion discs. I've got Merry Christmas that I can play on the PS1. Also, it still required this controller. It requires the PS1 controller. You have to own this in order to play this. And at the end of the day, I don't see a reason to ever pop this back in. While this, I can play Merry Christmas and bust out the Christmas carols, right? Like, there's a reason. This is good. This is not good. It literally is just worse than the PS1 counterpart. And so I don't know, like it's probably worse than C tier, because all the games that are in C tier are like functional, complete games that I can understand the enjoyability to them. There's no reason to play Maestro Music 2. It's just not good. Now, is it worse than Bubsy 3D? I'll take Maestro Music 2 every day, but it's D tier. It's not as, I don't know. I would probably still rate it above Saucer Man, but like that is it. All right, so we got, I think, 4 games left. All right, so we've got Destroy All Humans 2, and I'll put Destroy All Humans 2 up in B tier. Destroy All Humans 2 did make improvements upon like the system and experience of play. I think it is mechanically just a better game. But like at the end of the day, they did remake these, so perhaps if you are interested in playing Destroy All Humans 1 and 2, the remakes would be better experiences. I played the original PS2 versions, and it's not bad. Destroy All Humans 2 is definitely better than 1. 1 definitely had moments where it was a slog. I think 2 was more enjoyable. So it's a B tier game. It's not bad. All right, next up, let's do Ape Escape 2. Ape Escape 2 is a classic. This is one of the games that I've owned for a while. I just threw in the mix because I was looking for some games in the downtime between, like, if I have to buy the games, sometimes that takes time. And so I've got games on my shelf that I've played before that are just going to be thrown in the mix to pad it out. Ape Escape 2 is a classic. It's a sequel to Ape Escape. Fun game, mechanically good. Levels are nice, the art's good, the music's good. Can't complain, definitely an A. Not too much to say there. Alright, last two, Okami and Kingdom Hearts. So, let's do Okami last. Kingdom Hearts. So, the first thing with Kingdom Hearts is voice acting in Ape 2. Yeah, it has like Ash Ketchum and stuff. I haven't placed it. I just grabbed it. All right. Kingdom Hearts. You can't play the original PS2 version. Everyone who plays Kingdom Hearts says don't play the original Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS2. Or the Kingdom Hearts, just one. I haven't played 2. Don't play the original Kingdom Hearts on PS2 because, like, you can't skip cutscenes. The final remix adds bosses and all sorts of other stuff. And it's just a way better experience. So I played, 1 point whatever final remix, blah 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 blah. And so to that end, I feel like I have to like subtract some credit from it because it took them like 15 years to make the game better. Overall, like the combat's pleasant. You got like all the Disney characters. The level structures I felt like were really small, right? Like, I guess for the PS2 at the time, it makes a lot more sense that everything's so small map-wise. But like, I don't know, like Ratchet and Clank, if you compare like the level size of Ratchet and Clank to Kingdom Hearts, I don't see where they're using the resources. It's confusing. Oh, it came out like a year after the original in Japan? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I bought it on PC/PS4, but maybe that's just like a re-release. Like, but at the end of the day, like, if you compare Ratchet and Clank 1 to Kingdom Hearts 1, I find it difficult to make an argument that Kingdom Hearts 1 would beat out Ratchet and Clank 1. And Ratchet and Clank 1 does have its issues, but like, we're talking about updated textures, PC, you know, they amended stuff, they were able to do whatever they want with it, and like, that like, this modern Kingdom Hearts version of it that I'm playing on PC, I guess mildly edges out Ratchet and Clank 1. But like, it's not amazing. So I'm gonna put it in B. It's definitely better than all of the games in C. Not even close. It can't be put in C, but it's not like an A tier game. Like, if you look at these games in A, and then you look at Kingdom Hearts, you're like, no, that, to me, it's definitely not on the level of those games. Yeah, like I think B is the right spot for it, right? Like, it's better than some of the games in B. It's also, you know, Sly 2 is better than Kingdom Hearts. Sly 1 level, maybe not Jack 1. Yeah, but you also would switch Sly 1 and Sly 2. That's a difference in Sly opinions, right? I think B's the right spot. So, and then last, Okami. Okami is like it's very Zelda style, like, you know, dungeon RPG game where you progress in terms of like combat skills and your health meter and magic and whatnot. But it's got a lot grittier, and like the bosses are really cool. Except for the fact that you have to fight Orochi 3 times. Rip. The only issue with that is that like you have to do twice, right? 2 times in a row at the end, and it's a slow fight. But like, Okami's a really good game. Like, the art's unique. You can play this on PC, so I'm sure like the modern version, it's gonna look a lot cleaner, because like it's real fuzzy on the PS1. They add or PS2. The annoying thing there is it looks like they added a filter above the camera that makes it more fuzzy. Like, it just makes everything universally fuzzy. PS1 and PS2 by the size, yeah. The T-Walk thumbnail is screwed up. I don't know. I just drag and drop from my folder. But yeah, so Okami, I'm putting up in S tier. Like, that game is actually like really good. The music's good. You know, the art's good. The boss designs, I think, are all really cool. I had fun with it. It's definitely one of the top games I played of the year. Better than Zelda. I would agree with that. Like, you know, if you're comparing like Wind Waker to Okami, okay, it's kind of they're pretty equal footed there. I really like. Maybe I'm nostalgic for Wind Waker. I'd put it equal. Like, Wind Waker's pretty solid, but like other Zelda games, there's other Zelda games like what is it? Twilight Princess. I'd say it's better than Twilight Princess. Didn't play many pure JP games, so I didn't import very many Japanese games for the past 2 years because like the price on shipping was insane. For Christmas I did pick up a few, but I took a break from buying any Japanese video games or hardware just because the minimum shipping cost was going to be like, you know, 30 to 40 bucks on a single game. But yeah, so that rounds out the tier list. I'm gonna close it out here for the YouTube video. So anyone who's watching on YouTube, feel free to disagree with me all you want in the comments. Also, any recommendations for games that you think I should play next year, hit me up with those. I've got a few games. Obviously, I'm still working on Shadow of the Colossus. Twin Sanity, Crash Twin Sanity is a game that I should play at some point. We've got all the threes: Jack 3, Ratchet 3, Sly 3, Ape 3. I think there's a few other games on my wall. So definitely more to do. But I'm gonna close out the God Hand. That is one I do own. It's on the to-do list. I want to actually beat God Hand. Like, I feel like God Hand is gonna be like the S tier version of Devil May Cry, but like you have to actually be good at it. And yeah, that is one that I want to hit. Yo, Twig, how you doing? So yeah, I'm gonna close out the video there. We can keep banting about this, but thanks for watching, and see ya.